Now, let's discuss about the pricing and output decision of oligopolistic firm. There is not just one way to determine price and output of oligopoly. There are two: the cartel theory and the kinked demand curve theory. Let's first have a look on the cartel theory. The key behavioral assumption of the cartel theory is that oligopolists in an industry act as if there were only one firm in the industry. In short, they form a cartel to capture the benefits that would exist for a monopolist. A cartel is an organization of firms that reduces output and increases price in an effort to increase joint profits. Forming and maintaining a cartel has its benefits. Exhibit shows that an industry is in the long-run competitive equilibrium. Price is P1 and quantity of output is Q1. The industry is producing the output at which price equals marginal cost and there are zero economic profits. Now suppose the firms making up the industry form a cartel and reduce output to QC. The new price is PC, that is cartel price, and there are profits equal to the area CPC-AB, which can be shared among the members of the cartel. With no cartel, there are no profits. With a cartel, profits are earned. Thus, the firms have an incentive to form a cartel and to behave cooperatively rather than competitively. I have done this collaboration twice with other airlines to influence the prices in upward directions. Whenever, for any route, the price starts falling and there is a situation of no excess profits, we used to form cartel to jointly reduce the overall supply of airline service on that particular route. As a result, the price used to increase and everybody in the cartel used to get excess profits. But these collaboration never sustained for long because of greed among cartel members. We'll discuss on this cheating in cartels separately in game theory section.
Seems like changing from competition to collusions and then back again to competition.
True, dear. Let's now look at the second theory, that is, the kinked demand curve theory, which is very different from cartel theory. The behavioral assumption in the kinked demand curve theory is that if a single firm lowers price, other firms will do likewise. But if a single firm raises price, other firms will not follow suit.
So, there is no collusion here, right?
Correct, my dear. Let me give you a small example. Suppose there are 5 firms in an industry: A, B, C, D, and E. If firm A raises its price, the other firms maintain their prices. If firm A cuts its price, the other firms match the price cut. Assume the current price charged by the firm A for its airline service for a specific route is $250. If the firm raises its price to $270, other firms will not match it and therefore the firm's sales will drop from, say, 200 to 100 tickets. In short, the demand curve for the firm A above $250 is highly elastic. However, if the firm A lowers its price to, say, $230, other firms will match the price cut and therefore the firm's sales will not increase by much, only from 200 to 220. Demand is much less elastic below $250 than above it. Thus, there is a kink in the firm's demand curve at the current price, that is, point K in the exhibit. The kink signifies that other firms respond radically differently to a single firm's price hikes than they do to its price cuts. Actually, the kinked demand curve theory involves two demand curves and two marginal revenue curves as shown in the other exhibit. Only the thicker portions of the curves in the exhibit are relevant, however, and thus they appear in the main diagram. To illustrate, starting at a price of $250, the firm believes price cuts will be matched, but price hikes will not. So, when considering a price cut, the firm believes it faces the more inelastic of the two demand curves, D2, and the corresponding marginal revenue curve, MR2. But when considering a price hike, the firm believes it faces the more elastic of the two demand curves, D1, and the corresponding marginal revenue curve, MR1. Therefore, the firm's demand curve includes part of D1 and part of D2. The firm's marginal revenue curve includes part of MR1 and part of MR2. This occurs because the theory assumes the market reacts one way to a price cut and in a different way to a price hike. Look at the marginal revenue curve for the oligopolist in the exhibit. Directly below the kink, it drops sharply. In fact, the marginal revenue curve can be viewed as three segments. A line from point A to point B, which corresponds to the upper part of the demand curve, a gap between points B and C, directly below the kink in the demand curve, and a line from point C onward, which corresponds to the lower part of the demand curve, that is, from point K onwards. The gap between points B and C represents the sharp change in marginal revenue that occurs when price is lowered below the kink on the demand curve. The gap helps explain why prices might be less flexible or more rigid in oligopoly than in other market structures.